Now there's a strike going on in Hollywood.
That's right. So actors and writers are striking for the first time since 1960. They're protesting against a potentially unsettling future for their industry.
They're striking against a number of issues: pay, working conditions, and guess what? Artificial intelligence. Of course they are.
And we're joined by Andrew Eborn, futurist and lawyer. Andrew, good to see you.
Always good to see you both. Fantastic.
What is a futurist?
Back to the futurist. That's what we do. We look at patterns in history, predict what's going to happen in the future. I talk around the world about AI. I've been talking to the various people, the industry bodies, and saying this is going to be the future, because if you don't understand it, then there are going to be these existential risks.
But this is where I think you're slightly insane, and we have had this conversation before, because whenever we talk about the fact that people are losing their jobs, and just explain to us how these actors are frightened for their future because of AI.
So very, very simple. And it was Goldman Sachs said about 300 million jobs are going to be lost to artificial intelligence. And there's a number of different things that it does. It basically automates a lot of the boring tasks. But you have what's called generative AI, which can create things. So you might have heard of ChatGPT, which basically can write all sorts of glorious things. You can combine that with images now. So, for example, there was a picture of the Pope dressed in a white puffer jacket that went all round everywhere. People thought, my goodness, the Pope's in a puffer. You know, the devil wears Prada, but the Pope prefers a puffer. The reality was that was fake. And
there was an image of Zelensky talking about...
to Putin.
And that was AI.
So what you can do now is basically you can recreate anything that you can imagine. So you have songs can be recreated. We did a fake Drake with The Weeknd, and that fooled the world into thinking that was real. The Beatles were talking about doing their song with John Lennon's voice. That's going to be assisted by AI. What's happening at the moment is you can recreate scenes. So I don't know if you've seen the recent Harrison Ford movie. Basically what's happened there, they've de-aged him. So he's in his late 70s.
Yeah.
For the first 25 minutes, he looks 35.
Wow.
And that's all done by
They did that with De Niro too, didn't they,
Absolutely.
in a film recently? That's right.
So it's quite incredible what can happen.
But I find that quite spooky.
Well, it's also what's going to happen, and I've spoken about this beforehand, we have to understand what the technology can do, because that's the huge opportunity. And if you, as an artist, as an actor, can basically license your image rights, you can continue earning money in your sleep.
Well, this is why you're the perfect person to talk about this, because you are also a lawyer. So what these actors are objecting to at the moment is they could take part in a film. They could literally look down the camera lens for 60 seconds, say some generic script, and then they go away. They get paid for one day's work, and yet the movie can be made and all the profits will go to the people who own the movie. Now, what you're saying is they should have a contract, which means they would still get their $10 million or whatever it is for that one day's work.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's the way to look at it. So Bruce Willis was a great example. He had a particular condition that meant he couldn't act anymore. What he did is license his image to a Russian telecom company for a particular campaign for millions of dollars. But they basically created it by AI. So the way you have to approach it, and you're quite right, what they're saying in America is that you can basically do one day's shoot, we'll pay you only for one day's shoot, but we get your rights in perpetuity, all rights in all media, whether now known or hereafter invented. What they can do with those rights then is recreate you in many different movies. What you have to look at is the commercial reality of it. So if you understand the technology, and that's what I go around the world talking about, we have Equity talking about don't let AI steal the show. I'm talking to the Royal Television Society. I'm basically presenting a programme with the great and good of the industry, looking at a way forward. But your starting point has to be understand the technology. What the technology can do is recreate your image, recreate your voice, and basically put you in any situation
in
forever.
perpetuity?
In perpetuity.
But how much would that cost to get that licence?
Well, I would say on the basis that if you continue to act, then basically you'll be earning this amount of money. So I work, as you say, in intellectual property. You look at the licensing of your name to produce a revenue stream. So I came up with the very first sort of holograms, for example. We work with companies on that sort of basis, where you can recreate the best artist in history from existing footage, and you look and feel as though you're actually at the original concert.
It's going to make a lot of money for lawyers, isn't it? Lawyers like you.
Exactly.
Lawyers like you, Andrew.
I'll have more leisure time to come onto your show. That's what I'd love to do. It's got to be...
This isn't leisure time, this is our job, thank you very much.
That.
Because this is the thing, and I have to ask you before you go, what are the jobs that people are going to do when there are no jobs left to do?
And I knew you were going to ask that, and I asked ChatGPT that very question, and it said they should do things that only humans can do, like be empathetic. But the trouble with that is a recent survey said that ChatGPT is better than chatting to your GP, because it's more empathetic, it's got more time to think.
And of course, what people like me have come to terms with, they program them. It programs itself.
Absolutely, and it keeps improving. And that's the thing. It's going to get better and better all the time. So my advice to everybody in the profession is understand what the technology can do, but reach a sensible commercial arrangement.
Are you AI or are you really Andrew?
I'm AE on AI, Back to the Futurist.
I think he's an evil robot from the future, come to terrify us. Andrew, it's always fascinating.
Always a pleasure to see both of you.
Thank you so much. Andrew Eborn there.